Ambassador Sajjanhar, the Indian government, by saying continued interference in internal affairs of the country, that appears to set the stage for, only possible escalations from here on. Or are we wrong to read it like that? Diplomats being flown out, India, sort of drawing the line in the sand. What next, sir, in your view?
No, I think this is messaging that we have been signaling, that we have been giving out to Canada, and I think the message has gone out to them. I think right from the word go, when we first described what Justin Trudeau had said as absurd and motivated, politically motivated because they're political compulsions, then you would recall that we had also stopped issuance of visas or any consular facilities from our high commissions and consulate generals in Canada. For all Canadian citizens, it had been done. And then now, more recently, it is across the world, no facilities, no service to Canadian citizens. And now we have had this third aspect. Of course, it had been mentioned earlier that we want parity in numbers as also in terms of rank equivalence. I think that is where the matter rests. I don't think India at this moment would be, ready to take any further steps or any further action. We'll really have to wait and see how Canada responds. I agree with Gaurav, what he has said. We are waiting for evidence. And then I think we are also waiting for action to be taken by the Canadian law enforcement authorities against the Khalistani elements in Canada. And I think there have been a few
But Ambassador
reports
Sajjanhar,
that...
what happens if action is not taken against those Khalistanis? I mean, after all, this is a domestic vote bank issue in Canada. Elections are looming on Mr. Trudeau as well. It doesn't seem like action will be taken against the Khalistanis. So what then?
Yeah, it will not be... yes, you're right, Shiv. I don't think it will be taken because India wants it.
Yeah.
Because India demands it. I think it will start happening if it starts hurting the Canadians themselves.
Yeah.
And, there have been some reports yesterday that there were 8 Khalistani, extremists and separatists and, those engaged in organized crime.
Arrested, yes.
They were arrested and they had a huge cache of arms. So, this is exactly what we have also been telling Canada. That it is not only against India, it's going to hurt you. They need to also keep in mind what Hillary Clinton had said. If you are going to have snakes in your backyard, they are not going to hurt only your neighbor, but they'll come to bite you also. And I think that seems to be happening, if there is this organized crime and they, engage themselves in such illegal and unlawful activities, then of course Canada will be forced to take action, not because India has been asking them, but because, law and order is adversely impacted in their own country. Chef.
In your view, last couple of questions, Ambassador, in your view, has Canada or the West at large in some ways underestimated India's resolve as far as this action is concerned? Because over 15 days, it seemed like, Justin Trudeau was continuing to very confidently, publicly posture against India. And towards the end, it seemed like he had to eat a bit of humble pie and then, request private talks. Has this been a learning experience in your view, sir, for the West and for Canada particularly?
I would think so. I think both for Canada and I would imagine the United States, because the US also in some way would have been engaged in nudging, if not actively encouraging Canada to take up this issue and raise it in such a manner.
Yeah.
But possibly they did not realize that India would respond so very robustly and so very firmly. And not only in terms of rejecting the charges that were rejected right on the first day when this charge was made in the Canadian Parliament, but also stopping visa facilities, visa services to the Canadians, and now asking also for a reduction in the strength of the Canadian embassy, High Commission and the consulates, both in rank as well as parity numbers.
My final question
I think they miscalculated. They thought that India would be much more willing to listen and to engage. But India has been very clear right from the very beginning that, these credible allegations don't fly. If you have evidence, come out with it. And so far, they have not come out with anything of substance, nothing relevant, nothing specific has been brought to our attention.
One final question, and this is a big picture question, Ambassador Sajjanhar, which is that has this entire episode, of course it's not over, we're still reporting it, but has this episode so far also reflected India's rise in some way? Because it is clear now to a global audience that all of these powerful Anglosphere countries have these policies towards Khalistanis because we are told they also want leverage against India because they are also keeping tabs on India's rise. They recognize India's potential. They recognize India's power, in a new and changing international order. And these countries, which profess to be strategic partners of India, also want that kind of leverage against India, sir. That's an affirmation of India's own rise.
No, absolutely. Meaning as it is said, and, meaning not exactly, I want it to be understood that way, that no one kicks a dead dog. If a dog is smart, healthy, and is able to take care, then only people will come after it. And, that's what, after the G20, what we observed, India's, with the G20 consensus declaration, with AU becoming a member of the G20, with the India Middle East European Economic Corridor, and so many other things happening, and India's economy doing exceedingly well. So I think by and large, there has been this messaging that India has arrived on the global scene. And that is why maybe the United States and some of the other countries thought that it would be advisable to, in some way or the other, cut India, well, not exactly to size, but, just clip its wings a wee bit. And they possibly didn't realize that India's response is going to be so muscular. So definitely, I think India will have to continue to strengthen its partnership because they also realize that they need India. And, no solution to any of the challenges in the world, whether it is climate change, it is peace, security, it is terrorism, it is rise of China, nothing can be possible. You cannot get any resolution, any solutions without engagement, without involvement of India.
Ambassador Sajjanhar, always a pleasure listening to you and help us, decode this unfolding story. So I thank you for your time and thank you for being with me once again here on India Today.